did not work out. I had a phone call. And I turned off the notifications now in case I get another. But I was just blabbering for a couple of minutes just to see if anyone shows up. And what I was saying was that since like last summer, my voluptuous company started sending me to work in all these churches, which never happened for years. And some of the sites were armed, some were not. They were all churches. And lately, I've been almost exclusively in a series of churches. They have many campuses in San Diego area and around the world. Frankly, it's a mega church. And me and my family have been attending one of their campuses for years near our house. And I just thought it was an odd coincidence that I'm working for the same churches I'm attending. And there's no relation there whatsoever, meaning like my company did not set it up that way deliberately. It's just strange that they have this contract and all of their services are from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And to me, this is kind of symbolic that I would be sent to all these churches at this particular time. I think has more significance than I realize. But anywho, this place is super boring. The other places are not as boring, so I can actually go live here because everyone left. But I'm gonna discuss this dream, and I'm also gonna discuss what the meaning of yesterday's out of body experience was. And I actually did quite a little bit of research, really trying to figure out. And if you haven't seen it, then you're not going to know what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about yesterday's video. And I did some research on a burning wreath and the symbolism behind that. And there is ancient Norse associations with a burning wreath. There's Christian associations with a burning wreath. I personally don't think either have any connection in this particular case. To me, the power of that fire and being in a circular pattern was symbolic of just that. It was symbolic of power and light. And through that power and light creates frequencies to make an energetic portal. Now, I wanted to mention that I didn't see anything on the other side of it. It was just the wall that was by my mirror. And I, just by the mere thought alone, just ended up on the other side of it. And now the question arises, whether what I saw was a real place or not. And I believe it was. I believe this was a real consciousness and a real place that actually exists. Now, hey, Vera, what's up? That is really interesting to me that I would see a life form I would never think of as being a sentient life form. Now, the previous complex OBE I had quite a long time ago, I would say almost a year now, I saw human-like beings, right? Except they had the white eyes. They had no pupil, no sclera. They had a pure white eyes. And, but they looked human other than that, except with pale skin. And if you can recall, they were only able to tolerate red-colored lights. But this was a completely different thing. And after this experience, I wondered if I would actually look at dirt and ask myself, does it have some sort of awareness, even in the slightest bit in our reality here? Because energetically, on a subtle level, it probably does, because everything does. And, what exactly is soil? What exactly is clay? What exactly is dirt? Well, it's just a combination of minerals and deposits of rock and sand. No, it's not just that. Anyway, blabbered on long enough about that. Now to get into something really disturbing. Billie Eilish was in my dream. You wouldn't peg me as a church attendee because I forced myself to go because of family. I am not exactly a fan, but I suppose some of the sermons are okay, but I've been attending for many years, actually. And even more than that, even volunteering occasionally and counseling sessions and all this and that. So, but no, I'm not quite like a normal Christian, right? Not at all. But so I see Billie Eilish, the singer, someone I don't listen to or care about really at all. Had no interest in her, just heard a few of her songs, and she's in this dream, and she's wearing all white. She's wearing all white, and she comes and picks me up in some Range Rover, and we drive for a long time, and we end up in the mountains. And this place looks familiar. It looks like the way the structures are set up, the way the roads are, it really looked a lot like Mexico. And Mexico is a place I've been to many, many, many times, and all over Mexico. So I know and I'm familiar. And that's where I was. I'm almost positive that's where I was. And we ended up on top of a hill in this large mansion. And we go inside, and this mansion was also white. Very white, beautiful, marble, glistening building. And we go inside, and everything looks very, very ornate. It really looked like the Hearst Castle. Like everything was kind of over the top with art and, chandeliers and just wealth. Just wealth. It was everywhere. And there's a bunch of people just all over in this large room. Young, I would say between 20s to like 40s. Nobody that I could recall was really older. And they were all dressed very nice. And tuxedos, and, you know, the women were wearing beautiful dresses, and everything felt incredibly formal, like a 1920s party. Like it was nothing out of the ordinary at all. Everything felt very pleasant and cool. And I was just kind of standing there and watching them, and I see someone bring out this golden chalice, golden, what do they call them? It looked like what a stereotypical Holy Grail would look like, you know, and I couldn't see what was in it. Now, before you jump to conclusions and say, well, it was blood or the adrenochrome stuff, I have no idea. I really don't know much about that. So it was something in there. And they were all passing it around, like ritualistically. They were passing this chalice around one by one, kind of like in a church, eat the flesh, drink the blood. That's very much what it was like. I don't recall them eating anything, but they were passing the cup around ritualistically like it would be in a church. And shortly after, they started behaving completely possessed. Like their personalities completely transformed. And I really want to emphasize that it was not in this stupid, gimmicky horror movie type way. It was extremely, genuinely disturbing transformation of character that everyone, and their eyes changed. Everyone's eyes became blood red. And they started to, gyrate and make these strange movements and like touching themselves in the most bizarre ways I've ever seen. And after that, Loyalty, it's nice to see you. Thanks for being here. And after a while, they started talking, right? But they weren't talking to each other. Like before they drank from this cup, they were talking to nothing. I couldn't see who they were talking to. And I'm looking at each and every one of them, and they're having full-on conversations with invisible entities. And these conversations with the invisible entities turned into, as bizarre as this sounds, intimate connection with these invisible entities. It was basically like, I don't know how to explain it otherwise. It was like an orgy with things unseen. And I couldn't see them. All I know is that these people were hypnotized, they were possessed, and they were communicating with something very real and in a very intimate way. And it was extremely disturbing to look at. And I actually, in the dream, recall very deeply feeling uneasy, uncomfortable, like I wanted to puke. And sometimes it almost seemed like they weren't even aware that this was happening. Like they were giving their bodies to be fully possessed. So that was basically it. And I can't really tell you what this is supposed to mean. And Billie Eilish, who is a strange and dark person herself, and I've seen celebrities in dreams before. It's not the first time. but not like this. I've never seen anything quite like this. I've seen parties and dreams and strange parties of sorts, yes, but not like this. This is a whole new ball game right here. And I hope to God I never see what I saw again, because what I described in words was not enough. It was way worse than what I'm telling you and way more disturbing. That's about it, I guess.